All right, I've had some requests to do a video about using electric guitars in Presence here in Studio One, and I think they wanted distortion on them. Like I did a video in the past about how to get a cool, like crunchy distortion out of these, what I consider kind of cheesy sounding guitars in Presence. So open up Presence if you want to follow along, and I opened up a Les Paul B&W. And I'm going to run it through Ampire and make some crunchy distortion with it with power chords. So let's try that now. So I'm going to open up a pattern here, and let's make some power chords. So there's some, why don't we do E? So we go E and then A and then E. I think that's how you do a power chord. Yeah, fifth. Yep, that's it. And so I'm just going to duplicate that a bunch of times. So we got. Sounds pretty bad, right? It's all good. Now let's just duplicate it. And then let's go up to the chord track. We're going to use the chord track today. And let's just draw 4 chords in here, right? And then let's change them to C, A minor, and F. Now you might be asking, how did I pick those? Why did I pick those chords? Well, I do a video on the chord track, and I also have a course in Doll Junkie called Perfect Sounding Chords. So check that out. But essentially, if the root note is C, if this is the original chord of the song and the chord that all the rest of them kind of revolve around, the way to use the chord track is very easy. Just use chords that revolve around C, literally. And if you use just these chords in your song, it's not going to sound bad. It's almost impossible to sound bad if you use any of these chords almost in any order. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's pretty good. And if you want to get a little more, out there, you just venture further out on the wheel here. But if you want to stay kind of in that pop range where you can't really go wrong no matter what chord you hit, just use the chords that revolve around the root chord. And that works for any chord in the chord track. Like if I have a song in G, these chords are the chords that will support G and sound good with G. Get the idea? So I just used 4 of those chords. Actually, I wanted this to be F. 4 of these chords that revolve around C. And if I hit play, you'll hear that it didn't do anything. Sounds exactly the same. Because for those of you who have been following along, studying with me in my past videos, the way to get the chord track to work is you have to actually activate it first. It's all good and fine to put all the chords up here, but you have to activate it. And the way to activate the chord track is you pick your track, and you go down to follow chords, and where you see where it's off, you got to turn it on. Now, for chords, you want to use either parallel or narrow. They have 2 separate functions. You could pick either one, and you can see the difference. I won't go into exactly what they are now, but you can't go wrong with either. Just don't use bass unless you're doing this for a bass guitar. And I'm going to do parallel for the sake of this. Actually, for power chords, I take it back. For power chords, always pick parallel if you're doing this for power chords on a guitar. If you're doing it for other stuff, narrow and parallel both work in conjunction, and they're fine to mix up and combine and do all kinds of cool stuff. But for power chords, I changed my mind. Let's just use parallel. Notice any other YouTuber would stop, cut that part out of the video, edit it so it sounds perfect like he meant to say that the whole time. I don't do that. Anyway, so I don't know if that's good or bad. So let's take Ampire now and chuck it onto the track. Well, first let's make sure the chords work. So yeah, that wasn't what I wanted to happen. I actually wrote the original part in E. So let's change these chords to E minor and make that one G. And then maybe this one D, and then this one C. How about that? Yeah, it's not actually happening the way I want it. The C, D, and E sound good, but for a power chord, the root note, the bottom note, should technically be G. If I want this to be a G chord, I want it to start on G, not D. This is starting on D. It still will work, but it won't sound as good. See, it just doesn't sound as good. This is a G chord, so I want this to be... let's see. So we went G, and then D. It's actually B. G, B, and G. I think. So let's go take this one and put this up to a G. Nope, we don't want it to be a B. We want it to be a D. That's correct. So let's hear how this sounds. Cool. That works. It doesn't work. It's so bad. All right, I'm going to take this, make this a D. Bring it down to D. It's not a good idea to use a chord track when you're doing power chords. For anybody who plays guitar and knows what a power chord is, you understand what I'm doing here. A power chord is a root to a fifth to a root. So let's see if I got it right. That is a power chord. So I really should start this video over because I messed up so bad, but I'm not gonna. It's not how I roll. So you get to watch the mess ups. So a power chord is, we're doing an E power chord. Oh gosh, what a fiasco. Every chord was wrong. All right, now that I got four power chords there, written properly, let's bring Empire onto the track. I hope you guys are laughing at this at home and not just being mad at me. All right, and then let's get a crunch, and let's start with OD here, overdrive, and just hear how it sounds. And let's just go through a couple presets. That sounded pretty cool, actually. I like it. Let's go through a couple presets and hear how they sound. Okay, that sounds good too. Wow, these are good sounding amps. So check this out. We'll use Crunch Punch here. Here's something I like to do in guitars, though. This is fun. We're going to duplicate this entire track, complete, right? And then we're going to change this Empire to the original one. So we have two tracks going, and I'm going to pan one all the way to the left, which you could do here, all the way to the left, and one all the way to the right. Actually, not all the way. Let's go like 75. This way, most of this one's coming out the left speaker, and most of this one's coming out the right speaker. So check this out. So we have two different sounding amps, and they're both playing at the same time, and when you hear them in stereo, it sounds cool. Let's go a little further in the panel. That's cool. And let's do another little thing here. All right. I never did this. This is just to make it sound a little more human. There's two things I want to do, actually. Let's adjust the tuning of this by just a smidge. So open up presence, and here's fine-tune pitch. Let's mess with that while it's playing and hear the difference. Ooh, you hear that? Just a smidge gives it like a more stereo effect. Cool. Now, why don't we take... I'm going to hit G and group these. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. And then let's take all the notes in this and humanize them. Maybe take them a little bit off quantize just by another smidge. I know I'm saying smidge a lot. And we're going to do that by going to... Just right-click on them. And then it should be a musical function to humanize. Here, humanize. Okay, so what we're going to do, add node start range and, okay, velocity range. So it's going to adjust the velocities by 15% and the start range and looks like end range by 0.25. Let's see what happens when we do that. And I'm just going to solo this. So just make sure we're not screwing things up too much. Ooh. That's wild as heck. Did you hear how it was like sliding up to those notes? Man, let's humanize the other one. And let's see what happens. We might be on to something interesting here. I mean, it's not what I wanted to happen, but I love happy accidents. Let's see how they both sound together now. It could be crazy. It could suck. Yep, it sucks. Undo that, undo that. Now let's humanize it again, but by a really tiny little bit. So that's going to humanize and change the start range to like something crazy low. Like that. Let's do the same thing with this one. Let's humanize. Okay, let's hear how that sounds. Yeah, I think there's something about the way this instrument is set up in Presence that it's trying to slide up to those notes when they're off the grid a little bit. So I'm going to undo that again. We're just going to keep everything right on the grid. Everything's messing up today in this video, but hopefully you're learning something. Okay, so now that we have those two, let's add a bass. So let's go into Instruments. Go into Presence. Let's go to Bass. Let's get a bass guitar, like a vintage bass. Picked. Full. Cool. Now watch what I'm going to do here. That's a great sounding bass, actually. I'm not going to lie. So let's draw 8 of these in here. 1, 2, 3. Let's solo it and just hear how it sounds. They totally didn't want to do that. It's interesting, but I didn't want that. That's what I want. Now check it out. If we just do duplicate, 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 and then turn on the chord track for this one, but make this one bass, it automatically puts the notes in the right spot. And let's hear it with the other. All right, so let's do something else now. Let's take these two. Let's open up the mixer. So here's Presence 1 and 2. They're already selected. And let's create a bus for them. Now, what's a bus? It's just a mixer channel that basically sums these two guys together and smushes them into one, and they both go through here now. So it's a cool way, if I wanted to add effects to both of these, I don't need to create 2 effects. I could just create one effect here and insert, like maybe a compressor. But let's use like some kind of, let's just try comp. Let's use this and just see how this sounds. Did it work? Is this stuff actually coming out the bus? Why is it not even coming out the bus? I wanted this and this to go to a bus. Oh, add bus for selected channels. That's what we needed to do. My bad. And let's bring that tri-comp onto there. And let's see what it does. I think it gives it a lot of flavor. Listen to the difference. On, off. It makes it kind of raw. All right, let's throw some drums in there now. I'm just going to go to drums. I'm just going to type the word drums. Let's see what comes up. All right, let's roll through some of these while the song's playing. Let's actually loop this by just selecting one of these and hit P, and then slash, and that activates the loop region. I like both of these. Let's try something interesting. Let's take this one and this one, layer them, lower the volume because I think they're going to be loud, and let's see how they both sound together. Yeah. All right. I think that's kind of cool. Isn't it cool how you could just layer things and just really get some nice different types of sounds out of it? Those are both those guys playing together. Here's just one. Not bad. And that's the other one. Together, they just fit. All right, let's do something else now. So let's take these two guys and add a bus for these two guys, right? And that's this bus here. Now on this bus, no, I got another idea. Let me get rid of this one because this is the one that we weren't using. So this is the one the guitars are coming in here. I'm going to use a compressor, right? Put a compressor on the top. I'm going to sidechain the drums into it with this. What it basically did is it's causing the drums, every time they hit, to lower the guitars. That's what sidechaining is here. So every time the drums hit, the drums are basically the trigger for this compressor. Every time the drums hit, it lowers the guitar. Kind of makes it just an interesting sound. I like it, so I'm going to keep it. And then, all right, let's bring in a DAW Junkie synth now. We had enough of those stock plugins. Time for some paid stuff. I'm just kidding. Yo, anybody watching this video? I want to know if anybody's watching this video. If they got this far. Send me an email at mail@dawjunkie.com and say I want one of the DAW Junkie synths for free. and I'll send you one. Let's bring plucker in. And what's this bass? Let's just play. Let's do something here. Let's take one of these and let's hold Alt and drag it into plucker. Let's just solo it. All right, so let's go into... Actually, no, we just do this. It's way too low, obviously. It sounds very bassy, but we could just select that event and then transpose it up like 3 octaves. 36. I like plucker. Very nice sounding synth. All right, so what I'm thinking we could do is an arpeggio. So let's just bring the arpeggiator in. And it's under Instruments, Note Effects, Arpeggiator. I don't know how that happened where those two chords are different. I duplicated one of these and it just made it like that. But it works out. So let's hear it with the rest of the song. Okay, I lied. It doesn't work with the rest of the song. Dude, everything in this video is wrong. All right, so what I want to do is let's press the number 3 on your keyboard to get the knife. And let's just do a chop. I want to chop right on the... it's not set for snapping. Why is it not snapping? Oh, turn snapping on. I don't know why snap got turned off. This way you're just going to cut it right on the measure and cut it right on the measure. So we got 4 slices now. Now that we have 4 slices, we could go to the chord track just like we did with the other ones, follow chords, and why don't we do narrow for this? And let's see what happens. Let's do chop, chop, chop. I want to bring these down exactly how they are. So I'm just going to hold Alt, drag them down here. This should work. All right, I'm gonna turn off the arpeggiator. This is the worst video I ever made. Am I gonna still post it? Yes. And you might say, Steve, well, why are you gonna post it if you think it's low quality? Because. All right, so what I want to do is go to Note Effects, which are hiding right here. That's where you can get to Note Effects very easily. Let's open that arpeggiator and just turn it off, actually. And I'm gonna play some chords in. Here we go. Let's go to the beginning of the song. Let's do a pre-count with this little circle here. And there we go. 2, 3, 4. Good. Now at least we have chords in there. And now let's turn the arpeggiator back on. And as you can see, I didn't quantize it, because if you don't quantize something and then arpeggiate it, the arpeggiator can do some fun stuff. Here's another little tip. So I don't think this video is all that bad. See how this is even, like, not even to the grid, not even, the notes aren't even going all the way from one measure to the next. That could make the arpeggiator do some fun stuff because it's not perfect. And imperfections sometimes just make a song so much more cool. So let's turn the arpeggiator on. I'm going to pick a different preset here. I don't think this one's in tune for some reason. It's not Plucker's fault, by the way. How about nice and calm? All right, now we're good. We got somewhere. Okay, so that's a pretty cool little arpeggio. Let's hear it on its own. I like that. All right. Wow, this is 27 minutes. Okay, so lesson learned here, right? You can make mistakes and still end up with something pretty good. I did a lot of things wrong, and should I even post this? Yo, put in the comments if you don't think I should have posted this video. All right, let's do something fun, though, since I don't feel like getting off just yet. Let's make this chord track follow. I mean, let's activate the chord track for this. Is it already activated? No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Forget it. All right, I'm just going to end off the video. Enough stuff broken on this video. What did you learn, though? You learned that Presence can make some pretty beefy guitars with Ampire, which is fun. It's nice to pan guitars left and right, detune them just a little bit to just give it like a little effect. We tried humanizing them. That didn't work. But we also learned about the chord track and how it can be used for a nice bass. And then we layered drums, and then we used Plucker to just give it a nice little arpeggio. So we'll hear it one more time, and then we'll end the video. Oh, and we did side chaining from the drums to the guitars. All right, that's all we're going to do. I'm going to post this video before I come to my senses and say I should have never posted this video. And like I said, you want me to send you a synth? I want to see if you're watching this video. Send me an email, mail@dolljunkie.com. Say I want one of your synths. You can even pick which one you want. And don't tell anybody I'm doing this, all right? Just keep it between you and the email. And I'll send you the synth. And then you can test it and let me know what you think about it. All right, see you guys.